If two people are truly meant to be together, their relationship will always show these three signs. And if even one is missing, something is quietly wrong, even if everything else looks perfect. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will be able to look at any relationship, including your own, and know exactly which one of these three things is missing and what that missing piece actually means. Hey, welcome back to Psychotherapy, the channel where we take real psychology and turn it into simple truths you can actually use in your everyday life. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button right now, because we post videos just like this one every single week. And trust me, you do not want to miss what is coming next. Okay, let's get into it. Here is something that might surprise you. Psychologists have spent decades studying couples, some who stayed together for 50 years and some who broke up in 50 days. And when you strip away all the surface stuff, the fireworks, the chemistry, the good looks, the money, the vacations, what is actually left is almost always the same three ingredients. Not four, not five, three. And the strange part is, most people never even notice these three things because they are quiet. They do not announce themselves. They do not show up in the highlight reel of a relationship. They show up in the boring Tuesday afternoons, in the small arguments, in the way two people talk to each other when nobody else is watching. So let's start with the first one, because this one is the most misunderstood thing in modern relationships. The first thing that always appears when two hearts truly belong together is safety. Not excitement, not passion, safety. Now I know that sounds almost boring compared to what movies tell us love is supposed to feel like. But here is the truth psychologists have found again and again. The human nervous system cannot fully open up to another person unless it feels safe first. This is not some poetic idea, it is actual biology. When a person feels safe with their partner, their body produces more oxytocin, their cortisol levels drop, and their brain literally relaxes its guard. This is why some relationships feel like a vacation for your soul, and others feel like walking through a minefield, even if the second person is more exciting or more attractive. Think about someone you know who seems calm, grounded, and just generally at peace in their relationship. It is almost never because their partner is perfect. It is because they know, deep down, that they will not be mocked for their fears, punished for their mistakes, or abandoned the moment things get hard. That is safety. And here is the part that most people miss. Safety is not the absence of conflict. Couples who feel safe with each other still argue. They still disagree. They still get frustrated. The difference is that after the argument, they know they are still okay. They know the relationship is not going to shatter over one bad night. Psychologists call this a secure base, a term that actually comes from attachment theory, originally used to describe how children explore the world only when they know a parent is there to return to. Turns out, adults need the exact same thing from romantic partners. When that secure base is missing, people either become anxious, constantly needing reassurance, or they shut down completely, protecting themselves before they can get hurt. Now here is a question worth sitting with for a second. In your own life, do you feel like you can be fully yourself around your partner, including the messy parts, the insecure parts, the parts you do not show anyone else? If the answer is yes, that is a very good sign. If the answer is no, that does not necessarily mean the relationship is doomed, but it does mean something needs attention. And we will talk about what to do with that a little later. Before we move to the second thing, I want you to do something for me. If this video is already making you think about your own relationship, or maybe someone else's, drop a comment below and tell me which one of these three things you think matters most to you. I read every single comment, and honestly, some of the most powerful stories on this channel have come from people just like you, sharing their own experience. So go ahead, type it out. Even one word is enough. All right, let's talk about the second thing. And this one is going to surprise a lot of you, because it is almost the opposite of what dating culture tells us to look for. The second thing that always appears when two hearts truly belong together is friction that turns into growth, not friction that turns into damage. Every single couple, without exception, experiences friction. Anyone who tells you they never argue with their partner is either lying or simply has not been together long enough yet. Friction is not the enemy of love. In fact, psychologists who study long-term couples have found something fascinating. It is not the amount of conflict that predicts whether a relationship survives. It is what happens after the conflict. This idea comes from years of relationship research, most famously from work studying thousands of couples over decades, where researchers could predict with startling accuracy which couples would stay together just by watching how they handled disagreements, not whether they had them. Here's what that looks like in real life. Two people who truly belong together will have a fight, sometimes a big one, sometimes about something as small as dishes in the sink or as large as trust and money. But afterward, they circle back. They repair. They say things like, "I did not mean to raise my voice," or "I understand why that hurt you," even if they still believe they were right about the actual issue. This repair process is the real signature of a healthy bond. Couples who are not right for each other tend to do one of two things instead. They either avoid conflict altogether, burying resentment until it explodes years later, or they fight in ways that leave lasting wounds. Contempt, sarcasm, dismissiveness. The kind of comments that are never fully forgotten even after an apology. There is a phrase for the version that works, and it is called productive friction. It is the kind of disagreement that actually teaches two people something new about each other. Maybe you learn your partner grew up in a house where raised voices meant danger. So now you understand why they shut down during arguments. Maybe your partner learns that your silence is not coldness. It is how you process big emotions. Every piece of friction like this, when handled with care, becomes a brick in the foundation instead of a crack in the wall. This is why some couples who argue quite a bit are actually more stable than couples who never argue at all. The arguing itself was never the problem. What matters is whether the friction moves the relationship forward or slowly wears it down. I want you to notice something here, because this is where a lot of people get confused about their own relationships. If you and your partner never fight, that does not automatically mean you are doing everything right. Sometimes it means one or both of you have stopped bringing up things that bother you, which is actually a warning sign, not a good one. Real intimacy requires some level of honesty, and honesty occasionally creates friction. The goal was never a friction-free relationship. The goal is a relationship where friction leads somewhere good. Now, before we get to the third and final thing, and trust me, this last one ties everything together in a way you are not expecting, I want to ask you a small favor. If you are enjoying this video so far, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach more people who need to hear this. And if you have not subscribed yet, now is a perfect time, because next week's video is going to go even deeper into how attachment styles quietly control almost every relationship decision you make, without you even realizing it. Okay, here is the third thing. And honestly, this might be the most overlooked piece of all, because it has nothing to do with romance in the traditional sense. The third thing that always appears when two hearts truly belong together is what psychologists sometimes call mutual meaning-making. But let's just call it a shared story. This is the sense that two people are not simply living next to each other. They are building something together, a life, a set of memories, a private language of inside, jokes and shared references that only the two of them understand. This shared story is often the invisible glue that holds long relationships together long after the initial spark of attraction has settled into something quieter. Here is why this matters so much. Human beings are meaning-making creatures. We do not just want to feel good. We want our lives to add up to something. We want to feel like we are part of a story that makes sense. When two people build a relationship, they start creating a shared narrative almost without noticing it. It might be the story of how they met, retold slightly differently every time, but always with the same warmth. It might be small rituals, a specific way they say good morning, a particular restaurant that becomes theirs, a joke from 3 years ago that still makes them laugh instantly. Researchers who study long-married couples have noticed that the healthiest relationships tend to have partners who can accurately describe their shared history, who remember it fondly, and who see their story as something evolving rather than something stuck in the past. This is also where a lot of struggling relationships quietly fall apart, even when the couple stays together for years. When two people stop building shared meaning, when they stop creating new memories together, when their conversations become purely logistical, who is picking up groceries, who is paying which bill, the relationship can survive on the surface while slowly hollowing out underneath. This is often why people describe feeling lonely even while still in a relationship, because the shared story has quietly stopped growing. The beautiful thing about this third piece is that it can always be rebuilt, at any stage, at any age. It does not require grand romantic gestures. It can be as simple as trying a new hobby together, revisiting an old memory and laughing about it again, or simply asking your partner questions you have never asked before, even after years together. Some of the strongest, longest-lasting couples are not the ones who never ran out of things to talk about naturally. They are the ones who kept intentionally creating new things to talk about, new shared experiences, new inside jokes, a story that kept writing itself instead of ending on page one. So let's bring this all together, because now you have all three pieces. Safety, so the nervous system can actually relax and trust. Productive friction, so conflict becomes a tool for growth instead of a slow poison. And a shared story, so two people feel like they are building something meaningful together instead of simply existing side by side. When all three of these are present, relationships tend to feel steady even during hard seasons, because there is something solid underneath the surface. When even one is missing, something feels off, even if a couple cannot always explain exactly what it is. Here is something worth thinking about honestly, and I want you to really sit with this instead of just nodding along. Of these three things, which one feels the strongest in your own relationship right now? And which one feels a little bit weaker or maybe even missing entirely? This is not something to panic about if the answer is uncomfortable. Every relationship goes through phases where one of these three pillars needs a little more attention than the others. The couples who last are not the ones who have all three perfectly balanced every single day. They are the ones who notice when something is missing and actually do something about it, instead of ignoring it and hoping it fixes itself. If this video helped you understand something new about your own relationship, or maybe even a relationship you have watched from the outside, I would genuinely love for you to share it with someone who might need to see it too. Sometimes the person who needs this message most is not you. It is someone close to you, who has been quietly struggling to put into words exactly what feels missing. A share from you might be exactly what helps them understand their situation a little better today. And before you go, drop a comment down below with just one word: safety, friction, or story. Whichever one feels the most true for you right now. I read through these comments regularly, and I am always amazed by how much people are willing to share once they realize they are not the only ones asking these questions. If you want more videos like this one, breaking down the psychology behind real relationships, real emotions, and real human behavior, make sure you are subscribed to Psychotherapy, because there is a lot more coming, and honestly, some of it might surprise you even more than today's video did. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I will see you in the next one.